Welcome back to the Crypto World channel, everyone. My name is Josh, and right now the Bitcoin price has seen a perfect bounce along the $58,000 level of support, and currently we're back above 60,000 US dollars, which is huge. We've also seen a further decline in the funding rate, which is really good to see, and we're potentially forming two brand new patterns on the Bitcoin chart right now. So definitely make sure you're watching this video all the way to the end so that you're not missing out on any of this important information. And just before we jump into it, make sure to drop a like on the video down below, and if you're new to the channel, you might as well subscribe with notifications turned on for more updates just like this every single day. But with all of that out of the way, let's get straight into what this video is about. So right here, what in the Bitcoin US dollar chart on the 4-hour time frame, and what we can straight away see is, once again, as I said in the intro of this video, Bitcoin continued to find support along that $58,000 level of support that we've been talking about for quite a while. In fact, nearly over the last week, I've been letting you guys know the moment we break below 60,000, the next major level of support is actually this price range between 57 and 58,000 US dollars. So of course, the top of that range, 58,000, is where the support initially comes into play. And that's exactly where we've seen a bounce here, pretty much to the exact dollar. And right now we have seen one 4-hourly candle close back above 60,000, which is great to see, because I was letting you guys know yesterday that $60,000 was potentially the first level of resistance in the immediate short term for Bitcoin. So now that we're back above 60,000, that should now be acting as support for the Bitcoin price. And the next major level of resistance to the upside is, of course, this price range starting at around 63,000 and going up towards 65K. But more specifically, if you want to look at a single point of resistance, then perhaps this line just here, because this line has previously acted as support for the Bitcoin price back here, but then the moment we broke below it, it acted as resistance twice. And right now that's coming in at around 63.6K approximately. And that brings us into the first pattern that is possibly forming on the charts, which is a potential inverse head and shoulders pattern. Now, this is in the extremely early stages, so at the moment this is definitely not confirmed, but I'm just letting you know that it is forming. As you can see, we've got the left shoulder, we've now got the head, but of course what we need to see now is Bitcoin to continue up towards around 63,000 and then perhaps get one more rejection from that level with a small pullback down towards those lower $60,000 prices again, and then we'll need to come back up to that neckline at around 63.5K and a break above it. So we've still got a long way to go for this pattern, but it is a pattern that is possibly forming at the moment. So basically right now it's just something to keep an eye on in case it does continue to form. And speaking about head and shoulders patterns, of course, over the past few days, I've been letting you guys know about this potential head and shoulders pattern here on the 4-hour charts, because we did indeed see a left shoulder, a head, and a right shoulder. And initially, Bitcoin did break below the neckline, and we got a little bit of volume coming in here, but of course, we failed the retest. Anytime we come back up for a retest, as I said in yesterday's Bitcoin update video, we don't necessarily need to see a retest, but if we do come up for a retest, then a rejection from that previous neckline level, that previous level of support, and flipping it into resistance would be extra confirmation that we'll be heading lower. But then of course, if we break back above that important level, then that is how you know that things are starting to flip a little bit more bullish again, at least in the shorter term. And so right now, the fact that Bitcoin is back above that previous neckline, that $60,000 level, that has now invalidated this previous head and shoulders pattern and invalidated the price target to the downside, which was coming in at around 53,000. So that is why it's really important now for Bitcoin to try and remain above 60,000. So those are the main support and resistance levels that I'm paying attention to right now in the short term. But taking a look at another pattern that is forming right now on the Bitcoin chart, we have this falling wedge pattern, which is technically speaking a bullish pattern, meaning that it's more likely to break to the upside than it is to break to the downside. But keep in mind, it's still not impossible for a bullish pattern to break to the downside. It's just not as likely to break to the downside compared to breaking to the upside. But anyway, the resistance level for this falling wedge pattern is coming in at approximately 62,000, just under 62K. And the support for this falling wedge pattern is currently coming in at around 57,500 US dollars. So if we do end up seeing a major rejection along around 62,000, then it is a possibility that we could be heading back towards around 58K. But of course, a break above this point of resistance at around 62,000 would be a very bullish sign for Bitcoin, because the price target for this pattern is simply the top of the wedge, which is the all-time high for Bitcoin at 67,000 US dollars per Bitcoin. And right now, from the current price, that is around a 10% gain for Bitcoin. But even though that's the case, we still can't forget about those other important levels. Like for example, around 63,000, we've got a bit of resistance here. And also the all-time high itself at around 63,000 will be acting as at least some short-term resistance. And I tweeted this out over on my Twitter, talking about these previous corrections in the middle of bullish trends. And I was basically saying that it's actually very normal for Bitcoin to have some short-term pullbacks, short-term corrections in the middle of an uptrend. And during those times, there's a lot of people that for some reason flip really bearish on Bitcoin. For example, with this small 14% pullback, there's already people calling for a bear market, even though we just breached into all-time highs around a week ago. And I can tell you right now, we do not hit new all-time highs in the middle of a bear market. That just doesn't happen. And so as of right now, if you're zooming out on the chart, looking at the big picture, the big trends that we are in, it is still clearly an uptrend. We are still very clearly looking bullish on the big time frames, because how often does Bitcoin see pullbacks to the downside in the middle of an uptrend? Well, quite often, actually almost all the time. In the majority of uptrends for Bitcoin, we do have some pullbacks along the way. But how often do we see an all-time high breakout in the middle of a bear market? And the answer to that is never. We never see breakouts into new all-time highs in the middle of a bear market. That sort of thing only happens in bull markets. And taking a quick look at the Bitcoin funding rates across all of these exchanges, right now we've just had a major reset in the Bitcoin funding rate with the short-term pullback that we've just experienced. And this is actually really bullish for Bitcoin, because the lower the funding rates, the more room we have to the upside. And right now on some exchanges, for example, like OKX, the funding rates are actually negative. And basically across the board, when you're looking at the Bitcoin funding rates, overall, they're looking very neutral at the moment, giving us a lot of room to the upside. Technically speaking, there is still room to the downside, but considering the bigger trend for Bitcoin right now, I'd certainly rather be bullish on Bitcoin than bearish, at least in regards to the longer term trends that we're in, and also the reset in these funding rates. And the reset in these funding rates have also carried over to other market indicators like the Bitcoin Fear and Greed Index, for example. Just about a week ago, we were at 84 on the Fear and Greed Index in extreme greed, but with that short-term pullback, we've now pulled back down to 66 just in the greed zone, and we're actually pretty close to the neutral zone, which is a pretty big reset of these indicators, giving us more room to the upside when the uptrend kicks in again. So overall, I am very bullish on the larger trends that we're in, but talking about the short term, we haven't necessarily confirmed a recovery just yet until we start breaking above some of these important points of resistance, because technically speaking, as of right now, there is still a possibility remaining for Bitcoin that we could experience a little bit more of a pullback. But right now, I'm not exactly betting on a pullback. I've been letting you guys know over the past couple of days that I am treating this short-term pullback overall as a buying opportunity. I'm slowly dollar cost averaging into these lower levels, especially along those support levels that I've been telling you. For example, back here, I was looking at that $60,000 level of support, which I did dollar cost average slightly into Bitcoin, not very heavily, but just a small purchase there. And then also that $58,000 level of support at literally that exact bottom, I picked up a little more Bitcoin, just as I said I would over the past couple of days. But of course, I haven't gone all in or anything, because technically speaking, as I just said, we could go a little bit lower. And so if something like that plays out, I want to at least make sure that I can take advantage of an opportunity like that. But once again, I'm not betting everything on lower prices. That's why I've already bought in at some of these price levels already. And by the way, if you want to get these extra updates throughout the day on my Twitter, also talking about some altcoin breakouts that are performing very well at the moment, definitely make sure you follow me over on my Twitter. It's completely for free, and you're going to be getting a lot of valuable information in real time. And the link to my official Twitter account, which is this one just here, is in the description down below. It is at cryptoworld Josh, and it's this one with around 31,500 followers. If you see any other Twitter account that looks like my account, but it's not this one, not the one that's linked in the description, then those are scammer accounts. So be careful of that. There are some impersonators out there as well, also in the YouTube comment section. Just make sure that you know that right now, I do not have a public Telegram. I do not have a WhatsApp. I never ask for your money. I never trade on your behalf. So if you get anyone contacting you that looks like it's me, asking for your crypto or something along the lines of that, then it is a scammer. So just please be careful out there. But anyway, that is everything that I have to say for this video. I really hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, be sure to leave a like on the video down below. And if you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe with notifications turned on for more updates just like this every single day. Honestly, I appreciate all of your support on the channel at the moment. I can't thank you guys enough. And just before you click off, for the new viewers on the channel, make sure you're checking out one of these uploads if you haven't already. I've got a trading tutorial video showing you how I trade Bitcoin, and a passive income video showing you how I earn passive income every day in the crypto markets. But anyway, that is really everything I have to say for this video. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next video.